My name is Ana Paula Loureiro. I am a Portuguese teacher. I teach for about 23 years, and I'm a teacher at a private school in Carcavelos. It's a small town very, very close to Lisbon. Lisbon is the capital city of Portugal. And I'm an English and Portuguese teacher. I teach students between 10 and 15 years. It's middle school, okay? And usually I also give some practices to other teachers about how to use technology in class. Because my students use technology in class, I use technology in class, and usually I also help other teachers to include technology in their classes. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you, okay? And I hope that I can bring you information about my country and the things that we live here, our culture, traditions, etc.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Nanda.
My name is Nantakishore, a 9th-year student from JPHS Halavaram. Here my question is, how are teachers trained and supported throughout their careers in Portugal?
Okay, Nanda. Am I saying the name right, Nanda? Yeah?
Yep.
Teachers here in Portugal, we study for about 4 to 5 years to become teachers. We usually go to college. We learn the scientific part of teaching, right? And we also have psychology, didactics, etc. After that, we do some practice at schools, and other teachers help us to teach to the students. And during our career, we usually do trainings with other teachers also, in order to get updated with all the things that are new in education. And since COVID, there are many things that have changed. So we need to be always studying. A teacher needs to be always updating himself with many things that are happening in our world. Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much, Anna. How do we wish good morning in Portuguese?
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Very good.
Okay.
And now, at this time here in Portugal is boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Tarde. Is good.
What?
My name is Padmaja. I'm an 8th grader. Here I would like to ask you a question. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes, please.
What role do parents and the community play in the education of students in Portugal?
Thank you so much for your question. Padmaja, am I saying right? Padmaja? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
In Portugal, the parents have a very important role at school because we need them to play a role in our community, because it is very important that we have parents involved in the decisions that we make about the process of education of their students, their kids. And it's very important to this collaboration between parents and school. There are some projects that involve parents in the community and in the projects that we do. Their decision is taken in account, but the master decisions are taken by the school, okay? But we hear a lot the parents, because it is very important that we play a collaborative work here between parents, students, leaders, school leaders, teachers. It is very important to have a collaboration, because only having this collaboration we can really have a supportive environment for our students. Thank you for your question, Padmaja. Padmaja.
Yes. So here is a few photos actually we had a long time ago, 2021, with our students.
Yeah, that's it. That's my the last school that I've been.
Yes.
Now I'm in a different school. Okay. Oh, it's great. Can you share that picture with us, please?
Yeah. I will share right after this class. I will share those.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. This is Krishna, 8th grader from ZPHS School, Ailavaram. I would like to ask a question, ma'am.
Thank you, Krishna. You can
What
ask,
are
please.
What are some unique festivals or cultural events celebrated in Portugal?
Thank you for your question. So we have many festivals and cultural events here in Portugal. I even prepared a presentation. Can I share it with you? Is it possible? Have many of their festivals are connected with our religion, okay? So we have many celebrations. We have a quite big diversity of festivals, and we have a cultural heritage very big. Carnival is the first one that I want you to talk about. It happens in February, okay? And it is celebrated with parades, costumes, music, and there is many songs in the streets, and we usually have a break time during this time, 3-4 days, and it is a very happy season of the year. We also have in a city, the second biggest city in Portugal, it's called Porto, okay? Porto. We have Lisbon, a big city in the south, the center south, and Porto, which is in the north of Portugal. And we have a celebration called Festa de São João. It is in June, and people gather to enjoy the fireworks, the music, and the traditional grilled sardines, a fish that we grilled in the streets, okay? And we eat that with bread. It's a very unique tradition that we have. And in Lisbon, we have a party, a tradition called Festa de Santo António. It also occurs in June, and it honors the saint of our city, which is Santo António, okay? The streets are adorned with decorations. We also have grilled sardines in this celebration, and usually the couples celebrate by participating in traditional wedding processions, okay? It's a very amazing party celebration that we have. Then we have Festa dos Tabuleiros. It is also a unique festival in another city called Tomar, and it happens only every 4 years. We have colorful trails filled with bread, flowers, and this festival symbolizes the fertility and abundance of the city. And then we have many religious celebrations. The Feast of Our Lady of Fatima, it's a very important saint here in Portugal. We also have many processions during the Holy Week, during Easter, and all these events usually occur during the students' break. Our breaks are related to our religious traditions, okay? We also have the harvest festivals, especially in the north of Portugal. It is happening now. It's the time of celebrating the grape harvest, because then we produce the wine. We also have the Porto wine, that is a very famous wine around the world. And then we also have many traditional music, dances, culinary delights, etc. In conclusion, Portugal has many traditions because it is a very old country. and it has a very close connection with the Catholic traditions that we have here. Okay, then I'm going to share this presentation with you.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, and you?
I am fine, ma'am. Thank you. My name is Nitvika. I am an 8th grader from GPHS School, Elevaram. Here, I would like to ask you a question, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yes, please.
What is the age of retirement in Portugal? What schools are popular in Portugal, public or private?
Well, okay, thank you. Well, about you were asking me about private and public schools here in Portugal, right? Our public schools are very good. But in the big cities like Lisbon, Porto, Sintra, Cascais, we also have many private schools, which are also very, very good. In private schools, usually the students pay to attend to these schools, okay? But usually these schools only have a big influence in big cities because the public schools in the small cities give answer to all the students, okay? In big cities, as we have a huge population, we also need private schools. That's why I personally work in a private school near Lisbon. Okay, I've never taught in a public school. My mother is also a teacher. Now she's retired. She has retired last February, and she always she was always a teacher in a public school, but in the north of Portugal, because I am from the north of Portugal, but I live in Lisbon. I hope that you understood my answer, okay?
Yes, we want to know about the age of retirement in Portugal.
66 years old, more or less.
Okay,
That's
two questions with me. Most of my students have asked, I think one or two students I think about to ask. You have been teaching English and Portuguese. So how innovatively do you teach English for your students? Do your students like to speak English or Portuguese in the classroom? Or do they switch from Portuguese to English, English to Portuguese?
I usually start everything in English, okay? And then when I see that they aren't understanding something, I ask one student, did you understand what I've just said? And if he says, yes, I did, can you explain to your colleague? But with technical things, more technical things like teaching grammar, I usually help with Portuguese, with the little ones, okay? With the older ones, in the 9th grade, 8th grade, usually they understand the grammar also in English.
And what kind of teaching techniques, or maybe you can explain to us so that we can implement if it is possible in our classroom?
Okay, so one of the things that I really enjoy doing with them is collaborative work. I really think that is an amazing way for them to understand the language, to practice the language. It is very important to work in group, to do role plays about some team. I think it's a really amazing strategy. And I really enjoy applying gamification techniques. I really think that is an amazing way for them to revise things that they don't really like that much, like grammar, okay? The grammar is that thing that they need to study, they need to practice, and using gamification, it's a way of looking at the things in another way, okay? I can share with you some things. I use a platform called Quizzes. I can send you the links, okay?
Yes, please.
Because I really think that is a great way of revising some contents, especially in grammar.
Okay, thank you so much. And in my classroom, though I intentionally asked my students to speak English, yes, they are ready. They willfully try to speak English. But in my absence, they switch to a regional language. So some
That's
students,
normal.
whether I ask them or don't ask them, and they always restrict themselves to speak English because they are so passionate about speaking English. So what kind of practical issues you face in your classroom regarding the speaking English practice?
Sometimes they don't feel confident enough to use the language. I don't know if you also feel that, but I think that mainly the students that are weaker, okay, that they don't have the practice to use the language, usually feel more disencouraged to use the language with the others. But I think that if we put them in groups with the friends they like, with the people that they like to be during the breaks, it's a way of giving another chance for them to use the language, to practice the language with someone that they feel comfortable. So it's I think giving them the right partners to do the speaking practice. It's one opportunity for them to use the language in a real context.
Okay, thank you so much. And you have explained to us that you are training the teachers in using the technology.
Yeah.
And could you please throw some light to it?
Well, I usually I have some videos I can also share with you that I give to my colleagues, teachers, on how to use, for example, Microsoft apps, how to use gamification in class. You know that Portuguese teachers, mainly the ones that teach in public schools, they really need to do special training every year so that they can have an update to their careers, okay? And they need to do this type of trainings. So what's the idea? I give them some information about techniques that we can use, technology that we can use in class, and I also give them examples of things that they can do in class. And the idea is doing and applying these techniques in their classes and then presenting their projects to the class, to the teacher of class, in order to make a change and to do things in a different way, because it is difficult to integrate technology in our practices now, right? And the idea is really using the technology, but the main fact in all of this is the pedagogy that we use, right? Is the scientific part of all of this. The technology is important, but if we don't have the knowledge, technology is not going to help, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And teaching English is rapidly changing and keep evolving from time to time. At the time when I started my career way back 2005, so it has been almost 19 to 20 years since I started my career as an English teacher. But in these 20 years, so many changes have been evolved in teaching English language. So teachers need to update their knowledge in order to stay relevant in this teaching profession. So how the teachers in your country try to update their knowledge And do they do it on their own, or does the government or private institutions provide them some refreshing sessions to sensitize them to use their appropriate pedagogy, or are there any such training sessions conducted in your country?
Yeah, we are now since COVID, we have a plan called de Transição Digital. It's a digital transition plan, okay? And we have many many things that are being done by the government. The government gave and still giving one computer with an internet connection to each teacher and each student in public schools, only in public schools. But you are going to be admired with this. There are many students parents, in fact, that don't want the computer because the computer belongs to the government, okay? And if there is a problem, they have to pay for the computer, okay? So many of them don't want to use it. But this digital transition plan also has the training for teachers, what they call as capacitação, giving capacitation to the teachers on technology. And that's where I also work with my colleagues. It's in this part of giving them the ability to use the technology. And we also have some called MOOCs. It's a massive online. I'm also going to share the link with you. Massive online courses for teachers, where that they can do the trainings and apply what they are learning in their schools. So we have the computers, we have the connection, but sometimes it's difficult to change practices. It's very difficult to change our mind. Don't you think it's the difficult part?
Absolutely, I do agree with you. It all depends on the particular individual.
That's it. And that's the most difficult part, the changing the minds to use the technology, for them to learn better. That's what we want, right? We want them to learn. If the technology is going to help us, we're going to use it, right?
So just to encourage the students to send to the public schools. So are there such incentives provided to the public school students in your country?
Yeah. We have many students in public schools that don't have the money enough to attend that school. And the government gives the books, it gives the computers, it gives the meals, okay? And I think it is a very good help. In private schools, that doesn't happen, okay? Only in public schools. The books, they don't need to pay for the books. They don't need to pay for the computers, and they don't need to pay for the meals if they really have needs, okay? If they have money enough to pay, they pay for the meals, but nobody pays for the books and for the computers in public schools.
Wow, thank you so much. And here are my two last questions. So one question is, you have been a successful English and Portuguese teacher. So what made you to become a teacher? Is it your mother or some other person? Please share with us.
Yeah, I think it was really my mother, and I went to the same college that she was. It is one of the oldest universities in Europe. It is the University of Coimbra. I even have the same teachers in some subjects, in fact. So I really think it was the influence of my mother. She's a French and Portuguese teacher, and I am an English and Portuguese teacher. So I believe it is and the influence of my mother. Yeah.
So I think you must be a polyglot. I think you can speak French, Portuguese, English, any other languages?
More or
Please?
less, more or less. Spanish, some Spanish.
Oh, wow. So you can speak more than 5 languages, I think. Wow, really great. And here is my last question. Do you think these online classes, I mean online sessions, connecting students from one continent to another continent, and from one teacher to another teacher, one student to another student, do you think these sessions, cross-cultural sessions, are useful to the students in making them
Absolutely.
becoming global citizens?
Absolutely. I think you do an amazing work with these students, and it is an amazing work, and I have to congratulate you, because it is really something that brings your kids into another into another world. It gives them the experience of using the language and having access to the culture, and that's really, really important in a global world that we live. That's a way of visiting other countries, right? And it's an amazing experience that you are giving to all of these students, and you have a great teacher. You are, all of you must be very, very happy and proud with your amazing teacher.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And I'm looking forward to connect our students. I mean, your students, our students can
Yeah,
connect with each other.
connect.
They can share
Yeah,
their culture and traditions. Maybe I'm looking forward. And before
yeah.
we wind up this session, could you please give a message to my students?
Well, I think you are all in the right path, okay? You are learning English with a great teacher. You are becoming aware of what is happening in other countries of the world. And I think that you are all doing an amazing work. It was great to hear from you. And I hope to hear from you soon, with also connected with my students, with collaborative work. We must think about it, okay? It could be interesting to do something together, not only a connection like this one, but also collaborative work. We must think about it, okay?
For